Red states are crushing blue states right now in the economic recovery. When you look at the latest unemployment rates from July, the top 10 states all have Republican governors, and the 10 worst states, with one exception, all have Democrat governors. Why is there such a difference in how these different states are rebounding from the COVID pandemic and the recession it caused? Well, there's two main reasons. One has to do with how they tried to mitigate the COVID pandemic, and the other has to do with super generous welfare policies. Let's break it down. First, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Breaking Brad, a series where once a week where we break down the big picture issues in our politics, sorting fact from fiction and help you figure out what's really going on. If you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications too. I don't trust the YouTube algorithm gods, they're kind of sus to me, so to get around them, turn on that bell notification after you subscribe. But without further ado, I want to get into today's topic and just show you a picture real quick. Now what you're looking at is a map of the 50 states, and in green, you have the strongest states in terms of the best unemployment rates as of July 2021. This data all comes from the Labor Department of the federal government. And in red, you have the 10 worst states. So let's start with those 10 best states and just look at what states they are and how they're faring. In first, we have Nebraska. Then we have Utah, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Idaho, Vermont, Alabama, Oklahoma, Montana, and Georgia. These are the 10 states with the lowest unemployment rates, meaning that they've got the most people back to work after the recession. Now, what do these states all have in common? A Republican governor is one thing, and generally speaking, that means that they avoided harsh lockdowns and wound back the restrictions on their economy earlier in the pandemic. These restrictions, well, no one really knows if they helped much with COVID. Different states have totally different outcomes, and some of the states that were the harshest on COVID, like New York and California, well, they ended up with some of the worst results. But the lockdowns and restrictions certainly did devastate economies. So in these states that took lighter approaches, like South Dakota notoriously didn't lock down its businesses just about at all, these states clearly are rebounding more quickly, and that's a big reason why. One of the other big reasons is that the federal government, created this super generous unemployment benefits system where they were literally paying people more money not to work. You could earn up to $25 an hour as an unemployed household to just stay on welfare and not get a job, even though there were millions of open and unfilled jobs. And that's dysfunctional. Anybody who understands basic economics knows why that's dysfunctional. It disincentivizes work. But these governors, at least 9 of them, with Vermont being the only exception, these Republican governors ended those ultra-generous benefits early so that their people in their state would actually get back to work. And the results show it worked. Now, if we turn to the 10 worst states, here's what we have. Arizona, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., I know it's not a state, but for this sake, we're counting it as a state. Illinois, Hawaii, New Jersey, California, New Mexico, New York, and Nevada. These are the 10 worst states with the highest unemployment that are still really struggling to get their economies going after the pandemic. And guess what? Arizona is the only exception. They've all got Democratic governors. And many of these states, like Illinois, like Hawaii, like New York, like California, they took a hardcore approach to locking down and restricting their economies, and it didn't get them better COVID outcomes, not really, but it really devastated their labor market, put tons of businesses under for good, and they're still struggling now. The other thing is that many of these states still have those super generous unemployment benefits in place, and guess what? You're going to have a higher unemployment rate when you're literally paying people more not to work. The picture painted by the latest unemployment rate data really couldn't be more clear. In the states that promote work and leave their economies open and unrestricted, they're thriving. In the heavy lockdown states that have embraced the super generous welfare state, they're struggling and they're slipping into stagnation. But not a hope is lost. The great thing about America is we have a federalist 50-state system where different states can try different things. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. But you can vote with your feet, and people can reward the states that are embracing free markets and prosperity and punish the states trending towards socialism and welfare state stagnation. Thankfully, people are doing just that. Places like California and New York are losing population, losing residents, and places like Texas and Georgia and all Florida and other free market leaning places, well, they are winning from the other states' failures of big government. So yes, red states are crushing blue states right now when it comes to the economic recovery, but it's not really about party politics. It's about policy when it comes to free markets and opposing welfare state growth. Those two things are what really matter and what are really driving this difference. Remember that next time you head to the ballot box. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like this video and leave a comment below if you enjoyed this episode. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you actually can see the next Breaking Brad and keep up with my content. And with that, guys, I'll see you all in the next video.